Welcome to Livingston, our podcast where we invite local businesses, people, and organizations to talk about what they are giving to our community.
As real estate professionals with the Putkela Group, we bring valuable insight into the local market and community every week.
Thanks for listening, and welcome to Livingston. Hello, and welcome everybody to another episode of the Welcome to Livingston podcast. My name is Don Putkela.
And I'm Angela Putkela, and we're with the Putkela Group Real Estate Professionals. And our podcast, Welcome to Livingston, has been powered by Jim Paquette at Lake Michigan Credit Union.
Yes, and we are so excited about today's episode. Today we have with us Jen Ling, with owner of ReJenerate Your Space.
Yes, hi.
Hey, welcome. We're very excited because you do such great things. And the wild part is we did do a podcast with you way at the beginning. I think it was number 27.
Okay.
And
yeah.
here, this is 150 episodes after that.
Yeah.
But you're still doing a lot of great things and really relevant, I think.
Yeah, doing good things, and we've been growing over the years, and happy to be where we're at now. So yeah, things are good.
I imagine some of our listeners may not have ever listened to that since it was so far back. So why don't you explain to us, what is your business, ReJenerate Your Space?
Yeah, so ReJenerate Your Space, we primarily do decluttering, professional organizing. Those are kind of the biggest pieces that we do. We help people kind of set up space within that. So when we do an area and get it decluttered and organized, we kind of figure out the best way to set it up after that. We do also help people pack before a move and then unpack and get things set up after a move, so you can kind of get into your new space and get it nice and organized with good systems and kind of right off the bat. So,
I didn't even think of that. That is such a useful tool, because when you move into a house, odds are you're going to reset up and cause the same problems you had before, because it's what you're used to, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you start out with chaos, right? You've got boxes everywhere. You got to figure out, okay, what are we doing now? How are we going to set this up? Where are we going to put things? Or I just need to find my pans right now,
Yeah.
Right.
So we can have someone come in and, right off the bat, let's start getting things in place for you. Let's start getting unpacked. Let's start getting some good systems in place so that you can, have a nice flow, have it set up in a way it's going to function well and be catered to how you like to use your stuff and that sort of thing. So,
and it makes a huge difference, because being disorganized just really causes so much stress that's unneeded.
Absolutely, yes. It's it really kind of messes with your mind. It does create a lot of stress. It also, oftentimes you're rebuying things you already have because you don't know where they are. So that happens quite a bit. It can cause physical problems, like just having stuff around that you might be tripping over or whatever, and just not being able to find your stuff and all of the things, but mentally, yeah, it can really weigh on people, and they might not even realize it too. That's kind of the crazy thing, but yeah, when it gets nice and cleaned up, it makes a big difference in how people feel.
Right. So. The house is cluttered, so you're cluttered as well.
Absolutely.
Makes a difference. The interesting part is we go into a lot of people's houses, and everybody's normal that has clutter, that has stuff, that they're fighting the good fight. But so often people think that that's only them, that everybody else has it all figured out. And the truth is, everybody works on it. And the nice part is there's people like you out there that can really help somebody, because sometimes people just don't even know where to start.
100%. Yeah, that is the first thing. When people reach out, they're overwhelmed and they don't know where to start. That's pretty much something everybody says when they reach out. And to your point, when I meet someone, they say, "Oh, what do you do?" I say, "I'm a professional organizer." And they say, "Oh my gosh, I could use you at my house." Everybody, I swear, just about everybody says that. So
right.
Yeah, everybody has, whether it's that one space or just kind of in general, they have a hard time keeping it up. Or, some people just don't kind of have that brain that, gets them organized. Some people have a really hard just kind of figuring out, how do I do this and right. what makes sense, so yeah, we can come in and really help solve those problems for people. When
you go to parties at people's houses, your own people's houses, you see what they want you to see.
Yeah.
So they clean up and they do that stuff and hide.
Yep.
So, what's behind the doors type thing.
For sure.
So, because a lot of people don't want other people to know that, yeah, I'm cluttered as well.
Yeah.
Right? So...
Yeah, for sure. It's so common. Like I said, whether you have that one space or it's a whole basement or your whole house needs love, it's right. Life is busy and it's overwhelming, and it doesn't really take that much for a space to just kind of start to get a little out of sorts. And then, especially if you have like no kids and no time, and then it's like, okay, well, how did that get completely out of control? And then, you know, you're trying to keep up with life and you just can't get to it. You know, that's pretty common.
Right.
So
where do you start with somebody?
yeah, so when someone expresses interest and they want to talk about a project, we usually have a good conversation and kind of figure out like, okay, what are your goals? What are the problems? What are we looking at here? I do like to do an on-site consultation, or sometimes I can do that through video. And then just kind of get a better feel for the project, kind of figure out how long I think it's going to take to get it done, give them an estimate. Once we dive in, we kind of figure out, okay, where are we going to start here? And then we start to pull things out. We start to get everything kind of pulled out. We group like items together, categorizing everything. When possible, that's kind of the best time for the client to decide what they want to keep, what they don't. Some people have a harder time with that process than others. And so if it's someone who kind of struggles with that a little bit, we can kind of guide them and, you know, be there to give them a little push if they need it, if they want it, you know. So our goal is to get them to their goal. So they go through their stuff, kind of figure out what they want to keep, what they don't. At that point, once I know kind of what's staying in a space, I would likely recommend some sort of storage pieces. Sometimes clients have things that we can use. Other times I might recommend other stuff, which is pretty common. I'm usually going out to find those things, and the client reimburses me for what we use. And then we get it set up for them. I do like to ask questions along the way to kind of learn how people use their stuff. So what do they use more often? What do they use a couple times a year? Like, our goal is so that it's not only set up to be organized and looking nice, but number one, functional for their needs, you know. So
everybody's different.
Everybody's a little different. And, you know, the goal is so that it's easy to maintain. And so if it's a system that works for you, it's going to be a little easier for you to maintain that. So my number one goal is that everybody is ecstatic about their project. And I say, I guarantee you're going to be happy with our work. And I mean that. And if people truly aren't, I'm going to fix it. Let's do what we can do to make it happy for you. So I kind of every step along the way, I kind of talk to them about, okay, this is what I'm thinking here. This is kind of what I'm picturing for what would work well as far as, you know, containers or storage pieces or where to put things, and kind of get their feedback. Like, do you like that? Do you see something different? Or, you know, did you have a different, you know, idea for this? And, you know, most of the time people pretty much like what I have to say, but if they don't, I want them to tell me so that we can get it set up in a way that they're going to love it. I want you to love your space.
Do people focus in on space like in terms of the garage or the basement, or is it like kitchens and bedrooms and bathrooms? Or
Sure. I mean, honestly, we do all over the house. We've done storage units, we've helped businesses, you know, so we're kind of all over the board. I would say that the most common areas we probably work on are the storage areas. So basements, garages, sheds, you know, those types of spaces where, you know, you start to accumulate stuff and then it gets really out of control. But we do work everywhere. We do a lot of kitchens, pantries, closets, whether it's linen closets or, you know, master closets, kids closets, playrooms, offices. I mean, truly, we do it all. So,
right. And I think one of the biggest benefits is knowing where something is when you need it, because so often, you know, it's happened to us, you know, I need this one item, and now I have destroyed a room looking for that one item. So it's like, oh, well, now I've got a project for the next week because, you know, I ripped through 30 boxes and moved things around because I needed that right now.
Yeah, for sure. And it's always, of course, when you're in a hurry, you're trying to get out the door. You got kids doing crazy stuff in the next room, and you're just like, I got to go. I need to find this. So, yeah, when everything has a home that's logical and makes sense, and you know where to find it, you know what you have, where it is, how much of it you have, makes it easier to make a grocery list or a shopping list, you know. Yeah. But yeah, you know where to find your stuff, and like, you're saving time, you're saving money because you're not buying it again, you're saving stress because you're not freaking out trying to find it at the last minute. You know, it just really makes a big difference.
Really? Right. Yeah. It's an interesting thing, because I know with us, our daughter's math class needed a certain calculator. And so we went onto Amazon to order it, and it tells you how many times you've ordered it. And it's like, we have several of this exact calculator. Like, how do we not know where any is? And, you know, finally, in terms of being busy, you know, I just kind of broke down, like, she needs this calculator. And
I got lucky. It was like in the 5th box.
Yeah.
So it was pretty good. But, you know, I mean, those calculators are not cheap.
I'm sure.
So it's,
But it's things that you don't, I'm sure when we packed it up, we thought we wouldn't really need it again forever. Or anything,
Right.
And it's like, you just never know.
Yeah, for sure. I was working with a client one time, and the focus was their bathroom. She had 3 bathrooms, and she kind of just wanted to get all 3 bathrooms kind of done at the same time so she could kind of put things where they made more sense, like kids' bathroom, whatever, all that. And she did not realize she had 12 cans of hairspray that were partially used, So she's like, okay, we definitely need a better system for where our stuff is, And then it's just normal. Like, these things happen,
Yeah.
right. Well, one of the things we've learned in real estate is no matter how big or small your space is, you will eventually fill it up.
Yeah.
Usually sooner rather than later,
Yes.
too.
Yes. I've seen that. I've heard that. Yes, I would agree. So
Makes a difference. But I think by having things organized, then as you're filling it up, at least you have access to your stuff, right?
yeah. And in some cases, and we're trying to find a new home, as you know. And so, we're kind of out of space. And so we're trying to maximize every inch that we can. And so, so at least we might be tight, but everything has a place, and I know where to find it. We've got it as organized as I can get it, and it makes a big difference, especially when you are trying to maximize space. Like, let's use every inch we can in the best way possible.
Yes,
So.
exactly.
Right. So when you're going through with someone and you're encouraging them, hey, it's time to start getting rid of stuff, right? Because people keep way more things than they need to usually, right?
Sure.
Do you have suggestions for people on, how do you donate or how do you get rid of they decided, hey, I don't need this anymore. Obviously, you're taking it somewhere.
Yeah. So one place that I really encourage people to consider donating to is the Church of Christ on Rickett Road here in Brighton. I love that because they give to people in need. And so that just really resonates for me. So they accept most things, which is really nice too when you're trying to get rid of a lot of stuff. So I really like sending people there. And then there's also, of course, like Salvation Army and, if you're trying to get some money for some things, like Once Upon a Child is great for trying to recoup a little bit of cash for some of the kids' items. But yeah, I love that church. That's where I like to send people.
I know we've suggested to our clients La Casa that they accept donations also.
100%.
Yep.
So that's another good one, but a lot of good causes in the county.
Absolutely, for sure. And Habitat for Humanity is great for like some good pieces of furniture and stuff. And
That's
I like
true.
that they'll come and pick it up.
Oh, see, that's huge.
Yes,
Yeah.
huge, especially for furniture and things.
Right. Because that's probably a lot of things that keeps people. It's like, well, I don't know where to get rid of it.
Yes.
So now I'm just creating a pile in a room of stuff that I don't want anymore because I don't know where to.
Yeah, and that's definitely something I either can tell you where to get rid of it, or I have a resource for getting rid of it, or I can find out what to do with these things, So yeah, we definitely advise people on a lot of that stuff.
Today's episode of the Welcome to Livingston podcast is brought to you by our valued sponsor, Jim Putkela with Lake Michigan Credit Union. He is a trusted mortgage lender who has lived and worked in our community for many years. Jim Putkela is dedicated to helping our neighbors achieve their homeownership dreams and is proud to support the local businesses that make our area special. Now let's dive back into the stories of the incredible entrepreneurs we are featuring today.
In terms of your involvement in helping them get rid of stuff, sometimes you're there doing it with them. How does that all work?
Yeah, every client's a little bit different. Some people need a little more assistance kind of with going through stuff, and some people are a little more self-sufficient in that way. And so we kind of gauge what their needs are and kind of how they need to do things. If we sense that they're kind of struggling a little bit, we'll kind of step in and just offer to help. Like, okay, so this is your grouping of sports equipment. You've got 3 of these. Do you need all 3? This one looks a little bit worn. Maybe this one's been, loved enough and ready to move on. So kind of just talking them through that process. If it's one of the harder things to kind of go through and part with is keepsakes, right?
Yeah.
And everybody's got keepsakes, and you should. There's important things in your life that you want to keep, and I get that. I'm never going to make anybody get rid of stuff they don't want to. For one thing,
Right.
I'm not going to yell at people like those shows and order that they get rid of things. I'm not like that. I wouldn't want someone to do that to me. But yeah, so we'll just kind of make them think, okay, this is your goal. This is what's going on. How can we accomplish the goal in a way that is going to make you feel good about it? And so when it comes to keepsakes, maybe it's, can we take this blanket and, maybe cut a piece off of it and frame it and hang it on the wall, or, let's explore some other ideas on ways that maybe we can at least limit the space this is taking up, and you can still have it and enjoy it. And
Exactly.
Because how many totes of kids' artwork do you really need?
Yes, well, and that's hard for me. And we had long talks, and I've gotten so much better.
You have gotten a lot better.
But here's the strategy that worked for me personally. Okay, we have our cameras on our phones, right? And so on some of these pieces, I would take photos of it. Now, the ones that are really, really, really special, and I just can't do without, like you said, frame it or put it someplace, or have it all sealed up. But other things that I do really like, and it's not so much that I have to have it, but I don't want to forget it because it was so sweet and so special.
Yeah.
That having the photograph of it served that purpose, and it takes up a lot less room.
Yes, that's one thing we do say a lot. Take a picture of it. Put it in an album if you have to. Print it and put it on the wall, whatever we need to do to...
Yeah, doing an album. That's a cute idea. I mean, Shutterfly is so easy to put the stuff in.
Those like books.
That's a cute idea.
Yeah. So we try to offer creative solutions. So let's get to your goal. How can we do this?
Yes.
Right.
So...
Exactly. Yeah. Because some of our clients sometimes are just downsizing, and there just isn't the room for these items.
Yeah. Downsizing is, especially, with what you guys do, a lot of people, maybe seniors or, whoever looking to downsize and part with things. That's a lot of people we serve, is trying to help them. Let's do this. Let's go through this and part with these things we don't need and get them out of your life so that you can have the space for the things you do need in your next space.
Yes.
Right.
Exactly. To prioritize, what are the items that are important to be keeping?
Absolutely.
Right. So the two things I didn't think about in terms of that you help with are the garages and the storage units.
Mm-hmm.
So the garages, that's an interesting one because men are very territorial about their space in the garage. I mean, mine isn't organized at all.
Well, Don, if you need some help.
But, that's always a possibility. I have a lot of tools that are in totes.
Okay.
So
yeah, they probably don't do a lot of good there.
They're very hard to find when you need them.
Yeah.
So, but how does like the storage unit, like what do you, when you go into a storage unit, I just think of like people just shove boxes in there. So what's the process there?
Yeah, I mean, in a storage unit, it's kind of the same, but it's starting out with a conversation. Okay, are all the things in here staying? Do we need to go through some of this stuff? Let's figure out if there's anything that's leaving. Usually there are. Maybe it's a little, maybe it's a lot. And then kind of figuring out from there, like, okay, do we need to get some shelving in here? Usually that's the case. Shelving is like a number one thing in a storage area of some sort. Do we need to get some shelving in here? Let's get some bins. Let's get some labels so that when you do need something out of here, you know where to find it.
Yeah.
You don't have to take, 2 hours on a Sunday in the snow trying to find that one thing,
Right.
That's a great point. Yeah. And I feel like because of, speaking of snow, climate control, that my sister had this beautiful collection of snow globes. And I can't remember if it was in her store. I feel like it was her storage unit. Yes. That they had boxed them up and they put them in there. They didn't think anything of it. So as they brought them out,
they froze.
Yes.
They froze.
They
a
all
lot
froze
of them burst.
and burst. And
that's
it
terrible.
was devastating, right? So,
but again, not knowing where your stuff is, right?
yeah.
And not thinking about it like, I just need to stack these boxes up.
Right. Not even think about what's in them.
We don't even think what's in the boxes. We're like, these boxes have to go somewhere. Let's just start stacking up boxes.
Yeah.
Oh, this is the old stuff from the basement. We'll just put it in the
Right.
storage
Right.
unit. But there's so much to it. So knowing what's in the boxes and
Yes. And we're super mindful of that kind of stuff too. If we came across that, we'd say, do you know that you have this in here? We probably should get this out or it might get ruined, So,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. How often do you, when you're going through with people, do you find things that they had no idea that they had owned?
Oh, all the time. All the time. Or they're like, oh my gosh, I forgot all about this. I haven't seen this in 20 years. Or I've had people that are like, I have been looking for this for like 5 years. I've needed this so bad, like important things. I don't have an example in my head, but I love those moments when they're like, I am so happy to find that, I'm just like, well, you just made my whole day. So
you're like a treasure hunter, really.
kind of sometimes. Yeah. So, but, yeah, I mean, it happens all the time. They're, oh my gosh, I did not know I had this. I could use this right now or whatever.
Right.
But
And as your space is cleaner and more organized, it's astounding the difference it makes. So, can I tell her about New Year's?
That is good. Yeah, we don't do it as much anymore, but go for it.
But especially as we were younger. Our big New Year's plans, right, is we would take one room and we would completely like renovate it, reorganize it,
Nice.
pull everything out and put it back in and just start the year
Change the
fresh.
furniture.
Yeah.
Like move where things were.
Yes, exactly. We arranged the stuff.
Yeah.
Because like this year we did our office, and boy, it has been like I feel more productive and more efficient, and we got rid of stuff, and just now this is really setting things off on the right foot, and really makes a difference with your space.
I think just once in a while, kind of going through, if you've had a space for a little while, it's kind of been the same way. Maybe you forget what's there, or maybe it's really not functioning the way it should or that you want it to. And when you can take a minute or some time and let's pull this stuff out, let's see what's here. Oh my gosh, I don't need any of that stuff, or that's all outdated, or whatever the case. And you can kind of start, like you said, start fresh again, and let's set it up in a way that works for us now.
Right.
Because maybe that's different.
But I think the most important thing, and I'm not going to throw you under the bus, but I'm going to a little bit here.
Go ahead.
So the reason to hire you, ReJenerate Your Space, is to get that project to 100%.
Oh, that's
Okay, because so often people start these projects and the office looks great,
at
but there's
starting.
some great big piles of paperwork in our dining room right now that have been there since New Year's,
Yes,
right?
yes.
So hiring someone like you means that it doesn't become a 50% project because they fix one room, but they create a problem in another room. And with someone like you, that doesn't happen.
Well, and there are, yes, you are correct. Yes, we 100%, we're going to come in, we are going to make this space 100% what it should be and needs to be. But there are some times where, yes, we tackle a space, and then there are some things that don't make sense to live in that space anymore. And so, we might say, does this make more sense in the garage or in the basement or in this other area? And so those things may kind of migrate to those areas. Usually it's not so much that it's going to cause a problem in another space, but, sometimes it's a multi-step process. I've got clients that have kind of whole house projects or multi-room areas. And so it might be, okay, we're going to move this over here for now, but then next time we come, we're going to come back and tackle that space, and we're going to get that,
Yeah, no, I understand that.
Yeah, no, that's the part I'm missing.
No, and you're doing great. But you're getting somewhere, and starting is better than not doing it at all.
Sure,
yeah. But I love that it's that, hey, we've tackled this space. Now this next space is going to need it next time because we're making our way through to organize your entire life.
Yeah, pretty much. I've got, several clients usually kind of at a time that, we work together maybe a few days a month or whatever kind of works. That might be kind of a longer term process to kind of go through. But yeah, we're going to get the whole house in a way that makes sense for them. So every area is kind of functioning the way it should. It flows. It makes sense, so it makes sense. So, yeah, I kind of lost track of what I was going to say. I don't know, but that's okay.
It's all good. So, what advice would you give somebody that does want to just get started a little bit on their own, just to, in terms of decluttering and so forth, and as they're thinking about things, and obviously as they would consider to bring you on board and to help and whatnot, but what's kind of some low-hanging fruit for people out there?
I mean, I guess it depends on the space and, in what condition it's in, but typically just, kind of grab some empty bins or boxes and just kind of start sorting some things, like just grab a laundry basket, any clothes, put them in there, any, office supplies, let's get those together and just kind of start that sorting process. That's the part that really takes the most time. And I find like people put it off, but once you start, most of the time you're going to keep going because it feels good. You're getting something accomplished. Like, oh my gosh, I can see the floor again. Yeah, just kind of continue doing that as much as you can, even if it's like a couple hours today, a couple hours tomorrow. I mean, that's not ideal, but just jump in.
Yeah. So. And that's what it is. It's kind of an ongoing thing. And but boy, once you're on the other side, it makes such a difference.
It does.
I bet your clients must be so relieved and excited. And
yes, I've had people cry. they're so happy. We get a lot of hugs, which I love hugs. A lot of happy clients that, and this process is very personal too. So one of the things I love is that we get to know people through their stuff pretty quickly. And I really enjoy that. I like working with people and getting to know them. And so it's just kind of a cool thing to be able to they like to tell stories as we find things. And you kind of just feel like you get to know people a little bit. And that's pretty cool.
That's so neat. Like just on that personal level.
Yeah. So.
It is very cool. Yeah. I think about that it is one of those very personal things. You're letting someone else come into your life to help you sort through things, help you get things organized. So there's a lot of trust involved there.
Yep. And I think that's one thing that makes us different is that we're super personable. Like my goal is for you to be ecstatic with what we do. And I want this to be a very positive experience for you. And so I think naturally I kind of make people feel comfortable. And I think that is a nice way to start the process when they meet me. Maybe they're a little apprehensive when they reach out because they're inviting someone in to come and see maybe a side of their house they don't want people to see, or they don't want anybody to know that they've got spaces that look like this or whatever the case, and so we don't judge. We don't care what it looks like. We're happy to come in and help. And so I think when people get to talking to me a little bit and they kind of start to realize, okay, this person's not going to judge me. They're, caring and sweet. Hopefully they're thinking, and so I think that helps a lot. So we've got a very close personal level of service that we like to give people. I guarantee you're going to be happy. And if not, I'm going to make it so you are.
That's really awesome because it is something that sometimes we see so many people, but it just gets so big that it's just overwhelming.
Yes.
And to have you as a resource is huge.
Well, I think that comfort level is the most important thing because I think people sometimes are embarrassed.
Yeah.
And they don't need to be embarrassed, right?
Absolutely.
Because they know, one, you're letting them know they're not alone and you're on their side and on their team to help them through the process without making them feel bad about where they're at.
Yes, for sure. Yes, like I said, it's really important to me that people feel comfortable and not judged and they don't need to worry about it. And I always tell people I've seen worse. It's fine. Like I don't care. Like,
well,
right.
And at the end of the day, they're not reaching out to you because they can't do it. But why spend all the time and effort and aggravation reinventing the wheel when you're the professional?
Yeah, I mean, I think too we have like kind of a different perspective of looking at things, and you kind of get used to doing the same thing maybe you've always done, or it's been like this for years, and you don't really picture a different way to set up a space or make it more functional or whatever, and then we can come in and say, have you ever thought about putting this over here? Or maybe this would work better if we set this up this way. And most of the time people are like, oh, that's a great idea. I've never thought about that. Or I've never thought to add that type of shelving over here. Or,
Right.
So I think having that different perspective helps a lot too. But yeah, I mean, we are professionals. We know just the right things that'll work in the right places and where to get them at the right prices, and yeah, all around, I think we have a lot to offer, and everybody we work with always is very happy in the end.
Right.
So,
well, I know in our business, we've walked through hoarder houses before.
sure.
And, the fact is sometimes there's a beautiful house hidden behind
Yes.
Sure.
all of this. And people think, I love helping people buy new houses, but at the same time, sometimes they don't need to move. Sometimes they just need to organize because what they have works for them. And there's a reason they bought the house, right?
Right.
But it's hiding behind the clutter they've created.
Sure.
And that's where you come in.
Yeah, absolutely. I think in those situations, they're probably just, how can I get away from this? But they're still going to have to clean it up, right?
The house is hidden behind the clutter. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's so funny. And I know I used this example earlier, but like so often we do a space and they're like, I can see the floor again. And I'm like, yeah, come over here and do a little dance. You can do that now, So yeah, it really, and oftentimes it's so much faster than people think it's going to be. Like some people are like, oh my gosh, isn't this going to take like, months? And I'm like, no, we can do this in like 3 days. People are
Right.
like, really? You can do it that fast? Because to them, it's just this overwhelming, huge thing.
Yes.
And to us,
Right.
it's like, oh, we do this every day. We got this,
Right.
They're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you're already at this point. This
Right.
is amazing, you know. So, but yeah, getting that clutter put away, or you know, leaving the house or whatever it needs to be. It's you know, it's kind of life changing. I've actually had people say we've changed our life, you know. So.
Right. Well, I think the thing is for the person living in the house, or if you're doing this for your parents' house, right?
Mm-hmm.
Every item you pick up, there's a memory behind that
Yeah.
item. And that takes time,
Yeah.
It does.
right? And that's why those people think this is going to take months, because they pick up a picture and 10 minutes later, they're picking up the next
Yeah.
picture.
Well, and maybe for them it would take months. So that's a question. Okay,
True.
You can do it yourself, and maybe it'll take a long time, or you know, have the help.
Yeah. And, you know, it's funny because we do work with a lot of clients who love to tell stories about all these things. And I love to listen to them, and I try to keep them moving forward as we're talking and listening. And, you know, I might have my other organizer over here sorting this stuff or whatever. And I'm like sorting as I'm listening and talking. And, you know, and so we try to keep them on task in a pleasant way. And, you know, and we do enjoy those stories, but yeah, we're like, okay, well, we got to get through this box now. So let's, can we come back to this in a bit, you know, kind of thing. But
As people are listing their homes, because that is the most common thing that we end up telling people as they're getting ready is for decluttering. Because one of the things that we find is the photographs that are taken of the listing. If there's clutter around, it makes the house look so much worse.
yeah.
It really makes a difference. Is there anything in particular that you do as somebody is getting ready to list their home, that side of it? So definitely it's reorganizing, but in a different way.
Yeah. I mean, every situation's a little different, but in general, yeah, trying to pack up as we go through. It's a question of like, okay, is this staying in the house? Is this going to go to the next place? Is this something we can, you know, pack up now and, you know, store somewhere? Does it need to be out? You know, kind of asking those questions to figure out, okay, what needs to happen with this stuff? And then like, let's get it as minimized as possible. So, you know, we know you're going to get pictures done or whatever the case is as soon as possible. We are going to get as much as we can out of the space and find out, okay, does it need to stay close by? Can it be packed up and stored out somewhere else until the move? So that's probably the biggest thing.
Yeah. So, I mean, it does make sense because in terms of a home being ready to show, it will sell for more
Sure.
than it will with the clutter around.
Yeah, and I know when I'm looking at home listings and I do see clutter in photos, it's hard for me to focus on the
I can't see
actual
the
like
house.
structure.
Yeah.
I'm more focused on the stuff they have in there. And I mean, it happens. I know when we were doing some photos of our house, and it's hard to have the whole thing like pretty
is.
perfect at one time, but you know, if you can start early and kind of start chipping away at it, or just try to be somewhat organized in the first place, you know, that does help. But yeah, it definitely, you know, getting as much as possible out of the space makes a big difference.
Right. And I would say one of the things that, and you mentioned it right at the beginning of this episode, is that idea of bringing you in when you get into a new house.
Yeah.
What a valuable resource to start off on the right foot and have the right organization set up before you ever put anything into a room.
Right.
Because that's when it's easiest.
Yeah, exactly. Just get it done right off the bat. Actually, I have a client today. We're going to be packing her up. Next week, we're going to be unpacking her.
Right.
So, yeah, it's just, I think for people moving, I mean, and it's chaos, right? Like you get to a new space, it's awesome, but it's a little chaotic trying to find your things. And so to have that help, just getting it in the right area and unpacked and, okay, let's get it organized and
Right.
in a way you're going to love it right now.
Exactly. Public service announcement, pack things from that room together, and not what our son did moving to his first apartment where he tossed a little bit of this, a little bit of that.
Oh,
like
boy.
everything was all mixed in, and like it just stressed me out.
One of the best advice we got when we were moving, we had learned, I think, from one of our clients.
Yeah.
So they packed the boxes and they put a different color sticky note taped on the top of the boxes for the different rooms.
Yep.
So the movers knew everyone with a yellow, square on the top goes to the bedroom, and everyone with a blue goes to the kitchen. And it was really easy that they didn't have to read and figure out what side it was on and everything. And I thought that was really useful to us because it was like, hey, all these boxes go to the basement, and you knew where the stuff was even before you started.
Right.
Yeah, for sure. And I like those little stickers too that are like red and it says kitchen and blue and it says bedroom. And
Right.
yeah. And if we don't have those types of things when we're packing, then we like to write on top, on a long side and a short side.
Yeah.
Kitchen. This is what's in here, so it makes it much easier. I think when people are getting in that new place, like, oh, okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, we have people all the time where they're on their third house and they're moving boxes that have never been opened.
Yes. Yes. Until they call me and then we finally tackle it. Yes.
Yeah.
On
Right,
the third
yeah.
house. Yeah. It happens. I've seen that a lot too.
Wonderful. Yeah.
Great. So if people want to find out more, where do they find out how to get information about you?
Yeah, for sure. I've got a website. It's www.regenerate.com. Also on Facebook and Instagram, Regenerate Your Space Professional Organizing.
Excellent. And since your name is Jen, that's where it came from, right?
Yes. So Regenerate, ReJenerate, because yes, my name is Jen. So
Awesome. Well, you do a great job, Jen, and we appreciate you taking the time to come meet with us here and talk about Regenerate Your Space and let our listeners know about the great things that you're doing.
thank you. Thanks for having me. It was fun.
One quick question.
Yeah.
How far out do you go? Because obviously Livingston County, we do a lot with here. Do you travel outside of the county?
Yeah. It kind of depends on the project. But yes, most of our clients are in Livingston County. I've got some in, Fenton. I've got a couple in Flint. I've got some in Wixom. And, so kind of the surrounding areas kind of are most ideal. But there's some projects that aren't crazy big that we don't have to drive out a lot for that we might tackle that are a little further out.
Great.
So
reach out and run it by you, right?
sounds good.
Excellent. Great.
Wonderful. Well, thanks so much for coming today. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you to our listeners. Please check out this episode, check out all the other episodes, and check it out at welcometolivingston.com or anywhere that you find podcasts.
Yeah, like and subscribe. And here's my challenge to you, listeners. Pick an episode that you're excited about and send it to a friend. It's really been a fun ride here. We've had so many. I think this is maybe 177, but there's a lot of great businesses, and we're here to support them.
Thank you so much.
And
welcome to
Livingston.
Livingston.